Meniscus tear exercises. Which ones should you do? Which ones should you avoid? And can exercises help at all, or do you need surgery for a meniscus tear? Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Candy, and those are the questions that I'm going to answer in this video. Now, if you find this video helpful, give it a like or thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so you can get notified of our future videos. So which exercises, first of all, should you avoid if you have a meniscus tear? The meniscus, for people who don't know, is a little piece of fibrocartilage between your lower leg bone, your tibia, and your upper leg bone or your femur. And that meniscus sits around the inside of the joint, and you have another meniscus that sits around the outside of the joint. And that deepens the joint socket between the upper and the lower leg bones. It also provides some cushioning and some shock absorption. But if you have a tear in the meniscus, excessive twisting forces like that sort of grind the two joint surfaces together and can tear the meniscus even farther. So any types of exercise that involve twisting like that on your knees, you should definitely avoid those type of exercises. Another type of exercise that is no good if you have a meniscus tear are things that are high impact. That involves things like running, certainly jumping, things where you're getting a lot of downward force like that going down on the meniscus is no good because it jams the meniscus between the two bones in your leg, and it can get it even more inflamed and make a tear even bigger if there is one already. The third thing that you shouldn't do for a meniscus tear is doing deep squatting exercises. And again, the meniscus sits between the two joint surfaces, and the further down you get into the squat, the more the meniscus gets pinched, particularly in the back part of the knee. So if you have a meniscus problem, you want to avoid doing deep squats. Now, that being said, what are the exercises that are good to do if you have a meniscus problem? Well, the meniscus can heal itself if it has good vascularity. And to improve circulation and blood flow to the meniscus, the best type of exercises to do are cardiovascular exercises. Now again, you don't want to do high impact exercises like running, where you are getting the heart rate up, but you're also increasing the downward compression. But doing things like walking are really good if you can bear weight, somewhat reasonably comfortably on your knee. If you can't even bear weight because of the meniscus problem, doing things like walking in the pool or swimming or using a stationary bike where you can get some movement and get some blood flow to your knee to allow the meniscus to heal up quicker are really good things to do. And at the same time, you're avoiding getting that compressive force, that downward force, so that you don't further tear the meniscus. Now, another thing you need with meniscus tears is to have good range of motion in your knee. That if you're always bearing weight on the same portions of your knee joint surface because you can't get it all the way fully to an extended position, if you're always bearing weight with the knee a little bit bent, that's going to put more pressure on the back part of the meniscus. So doing exercises like hamstring stretches, whether you do those standing or whether you do them with your leg propped up on something or whether you do it sitting down, doing hamstring stretches to get the knee all the way straight so you can get it locked out are good things to do if you have a meniscus problem. You also want to be able to bend the meniscus, but be aware that your hamstring muscles, the muscles in the back of your leg that bend the knee, they also have an attachment into the meniscus. That the hamstring muscles pull the meniscus backwards as you bend your knees so that it pulls the meniscus along with your tibia, your lower leg bone, as you go into a knee bending position. So because there's a hamstring attachment into the meniscus, if the meniscus is already torn, you want to avoid doing heavy resistive exercises like leg curls, where you're going to be contracting with a lot of force using your hamstrings. But just doing some gentle knee bending exercises like sitting in a chair and straightening and bending your knee, or laying on your belly and doing some leg curls where you're not using any resistance, or sitting on the floor and just sliding your heel back and forth. Those are good exercises to do for a meniscus tear. So that doesn't sound like a whole lot of very specific exercises. But the big thing is that you need blood flow to the meniscus and you need to avoid irritating it. With time, if you get the meniscus blood flow and you avoid doing things that irritate it, then it's going to get better. Now, if it's a part that's deep in the meniscus, that the blood flow to the meniscus is along the outside, but if you have a part that's really deep inside, those don't heal as well. And sometimes you do need a surgery for those type of meniscus problems. Now, is there a test to tell if you do have a meniscus tear? Well, the gold standard is obviously an MRI. And if you're watching this video, chances are you probably have already had one. Otherwise, you might not know you have a meniscus problem. But if you think you might just have a meniscus problem and you're Googling or searching YouTube for solutions for meniscus problems and you're not quite sure that you have one yet, there is a fairly reliable clinical test that you can use to tell if you might have a meniscus tear. And that's called the Fasali test. Basically, it's a weight-bearing test where you stand with about 20 degrees bend in your knee, and you just twist back and forth. You'll hold on to something, because if you do have a meniscus tear, that's going to be quite painful. It might make your knee feel a little bit unstable, and you'll get the reproduction of that sharp pain that you normally feel. Not just a uncomfortable feeling, but your particular familiar pain. And if you do have that, it's probably worth seeing the doctor and getting an MRI to figure out further if you do have a meniscus problem. But if that Fasali test is negative, then that gives you a chance that you probably don't have a meniscus tear. So what should you do if you have a meniscus tear? Well, just to review, do exercises where you don't have a lot of compression, where you don't have a lot of twisting, and where you don't go into a really deep squat or use your hamstring muscles against a lot of force. Additionally, you do want to do exercises that promote range of motion, particularly full knee extension, and exercises that improve blood flow, such as exercise biking or walking or swimming, where you're not putting a lot of weight on the meniscus, you're not putting a lot of compression, but you are improving blood flow. Now, if you need some more help for a meniscus tear, either to avoid surgery in the first place, or if you've already had a surgery for a meniscus tear, and you'd like some one-on-one help to figure out the quickest way to recover and get back to the sports or other activities that you love to do, then we'd be happy to help you out here at More for Life. Just give us a call or click on one of the buttons on our website, and we'll get you set up with an appointment and help you figure out what's wrong. And if you're out of town or you're watching this online and you found this video helpful, give it a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe to our channel so you can get notified of our future videos. Thanks for listening, and have a great day.